topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Get ready to be amazed. Get ready to know things that are usually unknowable. Get ready for an hour of insight and fascinating entertainment with Dr. Linda Salvin. For nearly 3 decades, Dr. Linda has been one of America's most celebrated psychic readers, metaphysical clinicians, and unmatched talk show hosts, bringing insights and solutions to thousands of people worldwide. Pull up a chair, turn it up, and get ready for a visit with the one and only Dr. Linda. And now, live from Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Linda Salvin.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Dr. Linda Starlight Café. I'm a psychic healer and a medium and your host every Thursday live right here on all the different platforms you're listening to. But when you're listening, you're probably downloading, and we've already done this show, but I hope you enjoy the show. Today's topic is spirituality and spiritual awakening. What happens when you have a spiritual awakening, when you're really kind of blindsided as to how the universe works. As a metaphysical clinician, I have evolved over 35 years or more with God, spirituality, what's real in the physical world versus the spiritual world, and how it all starts to unravel within yourself. It's all within us. You know, we get a lot of constant stimulation with everything that goes on with computers and phones and talking heads, and every app has people talking. I mean, we're in constant motion. But when you be still, for I am God, you can get quiet and you can hear the voice within. There's lots of voices inside. There's like a committee going on, but I'm going to teach you, and I try implementing through all these shows, how the universe takes over for all of us. And we can grow, and we can enlighten, and we can become part of the right soul circle that we belong in. We can be anywhere we want in the world. That's not an issue. But where do you belong and feel comfortable without being backstabbed, judged, misunderstood, abused, criticized, all of that? You know, you find your way, and then all of a sudden it seems to come together. People fall away from your life. You think you're going to be alone for the rest of your life, or you might feel isolated. Then all of a sudden a whole new wave of opportunity arrives. So life is like a wave in the ocean, where we're up and down and crash and burn and run and chase life. But what I've done since I became psychic in 1981, when I was in a commercial airline plane crash, for those of you that don't know my backstory, I became psychic on February 17th, 1981, when I survived a commercial airline plane crash. It was the Boeing 737, and I was out of commission for about 6 years. It took the first 4 months where I was out of my body, about 50 feet on the left, and I stood 5 feet in on the right, and I became what's known as a walk-in. All these terms you can Google and you can learn about it. I'm not going to take time in today's show to define it, because I have a special guest that I want you to meet, who's 22 years old, but is wise beyond 50 and 60 as far as spiritual attunement. This guy came into life knowing things. He knows his past lives. He knows where he's supposed to go. He knows what he's supposed to achieve. And yet he's so humble. He's so humble, and that's the key. It's okay to be way up there, but you got to keep the balance within self and in perspective with other people. So let's bring Jeremiah on, and you're going to meet Jeremiah Kawanga. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you. And I only want to welcome you to the show. We've talked about this before. It took some time for you to feel comfortable to do it, because when you start talking about yourself or your God or your spirituality, a lot of people don't want to hear it. And a lot of people think you're crazy, or they just misunderstand you. And excuse me, even though I'm old enough to be Jeremiah's grandmother, I've kind of like adopted him through the last few years, where we've become quite close, and we can tell each other things, because there's that what I call the soul circle. So when you're in your element of like-minded ideas and spirituality and the comfort of knowing that there's more to life than what we see on the billboards or that we see on the platforms. There's ourselves. We're not running when we're looking inward. So, Jeremiah, tell the story how you found me and some of the things that you've conquered. You've actually conquered a lot.
Yeah, I actually found you from Storms, whose show you constantly appear on, and
Mm-hmm.
he was explaining about the candles and everything, and
Wicks of
um,
wisdom.
It's of wisdom and how Chris Renner did the infomercial, and then that was when I contacted you and ordered the candles. And during the time, I was completely a different person because I never thought I would be involved in this whole spiritual world. And I thought I would be more of I was more of a party boy, to be honest.
Uh-huh. Were you
Yeah.
in the hip hop thing or were you in the gangster, pretend I'm a
Yeah.
gangster kind of low life?
More of
I'm
like
on the
the,
street, I'm cool.
yeah, more of like the pop scene and whatever. And yeah, and when I did the first set, that's when my life started to change. I remember the first set was I had just started college at the time, and I was looking to get rid of all the negativity going into that. And yeah, they all worked. And ever since then, I've been using the candles. Most recent thing they helped me with was with my immigration situation, getting a green card, which happened like right at the third candle. When the third candle was
Yeah,
lit,
yeah.
I just got the news that everything was approved and everything, and it was great.
Let's
And
back up
they've
right
helped a
there.
lot.
So there's different types and sets of candles, and what Jeremiah is talking about is the candle line that I've had since 1999 called Wicks of Wisdom. There's different color candles, and with each candle set, you get 4 bottles of essential oils. They're not labeled because I don't want you to know what they are, because you're not
Yeah.
going to go to the apothecary and say, oh, I want this, this, and that. You don't know what my formulas are. The colors mean nothing except to me. And as an identifier to the customer, such as Jeremiah, you get your oils, you get a baggie of little herbs, and you get some powder, which I have somewhere in this little box, and then you get petitions. It's just paper, but it's what goes on the paper, how you write it out, and it's parchment paper, not notebook paper. And there's a reason for everything. And then there's certain tools that you use. I just don't want these to drop down my blouse. And the candles, when you dress the candle with the herbs, the oils, the powders, and then you light the petition. The candle in Kabbalah represents the soul of man, and the flame, when lit, is the light, which is God. So we're actually feeding God information. And then unbelievable events, such as Jeremiah was just describing, something happened where negativity released so he could go to school more comfortably, which was probably like a heavy cloud around you, or you weren't sure why you weren't feeling up to par. Now, immigration, that's a big one. So we use good luck power and we use sweetening judgment power. I'm not going to explain on the air who gets what burned towards whatever, but if you people who are listening or viewing this show have a legal issue, by all means, give me a shout out at my website and I will explain it to you. And you can watch other shows on my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Linda Salvin. And if you would click the little bell for the to sign up, to subscribe, I'd appreciate it. And you'll watch all the shows. But you can go back in the archives, and there's legal shows that I've done with different clients, just like Jeremiah, who have testified to staying at a jail, winning a lawsuit, having a huge potential jail sentence pushed out, where now it might be a misdemeanor. So in Jeremiah's case, how long had you been trying to get your green card where it was stuck in the system? Then you did the candles and we blew off the top. What was the time frame? Do you remember?
It was about like 3 years, the whole process of going through the immigration, going through lawyers, and then filling out the forms and everything. And then I just was waiting for the approval notice. And then I got that after the set of candles, which I did. I didn't even use the sweetening judgment, which I wanted to use, but then I didn't even need it. which was great.
Because you did the good luck first, right? Did you do the good luck? And it removed the blocks, obstacles, negativity, or whatever was holding it up, or whatever was in the system like clogged up. It just kind of pushed it through. Yeah, it's like I call it a spiritual enema. It just sort of moved.
Yeah.
It moves things through, but we don't know why, other than it's magic. You take a bottle of essential oils. People in the oils, there's over 22 different essences, meaning from flowers and bark and trees and insects and different natural properties that are combined into the oil. And each oil has a different purpose, and they're all named differently. Like this one, the clear one can be used in good luck power, but it's also used in the sweetening judgment power. And it's also used in the go away, which is a go away is to help remove a third wheel in a situation. This one is more for attracting in your love life, but I'm not going to tell you what the name of the oil is because there's others that do similar, but they're combined. This one removes a lot of the No, this is your health oil. This one's used for health and wellness. We've had people heal from disease. We've had people stop bleeding. We've had people have cancer disappear from their face. They heal. But it's not just the one bottle. It's the combination of 4 together that make it. It's just like if you were to be cooking dinner for you and your friends, you're going to have different spices and ingredients, and something makes a banana bread, and all these ingredients make a Caesar salad, and over here it makes the sauce, right? And some have the same ingredients. Like garlic might go all the way across. No, garlic won't go on the banana bread, but maybe salt will. You got to figure it out. They're formulas. So when it started happening for you with the candles, because Jeremiah has been buying almost sometimes twice a month, but at least monthly for many years now. There's health and wellness, which I believe has helped you calm down from some of the anxieties or some of the emotional things you might be going through in life. I don't recall a serious health problem, but I believe you did some for your mother or grandmother at one point.
Yes. So my grandmother, who lives in Malawi, she suffers from lupus. So she's like constantly in stress with her body, like pains and everything. And I did the health and wellness candles for her, and that's when she found better doctors who were willing to treat her. She got better medication, and she was feeling better, especially mentally too.
That's amazing. And that was just on a set of candles, and that's from the United States to Africa. You don't have to be on top of or with the person that you're targeting to help. I can be here in Los Angeles, burn something for Jeremiah's situation, and it's still effective, folks. This is candle magic. It's real candle magic. It's alleged. You can't promise anything any more than I can promise you that there's air in this room. I know there's air in the room. We're breathing. He's breathing. We're all breathing air, but I can't see the air. It's like, I know this is magic. I can't tell you how it works other than oils, fire, and writing creates the alchemy of the outcome. So when you're dressing the candles and you're lighting the candles, and then sometimes you'll even see the spirits dancing on the ceiling because there's real active spirits in my oils, folks. Do you think I'm not serious? Jeremiah's had an experience with the spirits. Why'd you talk about that?
Well, you see a lot of things. Like I've seen white flame, purple flame, stuff I've never seen with candles, to be honest, like stuff you wouldn't expect to see from candles. And
they're not regular candles.
It's a lot of heavy stuff that you do.
Yeah. See, a lot of people think you go to a big box store, some big store, and you just buy a scented candle like pumpkin, vanilla, cinnamon, or whatever. That's not what this is.
Yeah. And I'll say the health and wellness helped a lot, especially dealing with stuff like alcoholism, because I've never explained this to you, but my father was a huge alcoholic and he died from that. So I kind of had issues with alcohol and substances, but then when I used the health and wellness candles, it would like tame it basically. It would help me a lot with that.
So the addiction craving started to subside. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. I
Yeah.
have heard this in the past where I've had clients, because I've been doing Wicks of Wisdom since 1999. The health and wellness, sometimes the money and success, which opens doors, sometimes the good luck will release or remove or tame the addiction or the craving or the need for something. So are you just not compulsively needing the drink now? Is that what it is? You don't feel like you have to have something?
Yeah.
So you're more at peace within yourself.
Yeah.
Your
Definitely.
mind quieted down.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I think we may have touched upon it once, but now I hear it again, and I'm really happy for you because, as you know, on my Wednesday show called Recovery Wednesday, we talk about addictions. You might want to come on that show at some point and talk about that if you want. With Candy Finnegan, that's every Wednesday, Recovery Wednesday, and we have different topics of addiction because we're all recovering from something. But to eliminate the craving, I guess, or the obsession, which was it? Can you identify it, Jeremiah?
Mostly the craving, basically.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. You've had readings with me. Let's jump into the readings, because besides the candles, which is magic, you literally had a spiritual awakening 3 years ago, probably, where you were on one path. And then what's known as the Kundalini experience, it comes from the base of the spine. It goes up into the cortex of the brain, and your whole being awakens spiritually. You can Google it, Kundalini, Kudilini, and it elevates us as humans into another dimension, more or less. And a lot of who we identify as shifts because we become more aware spiritually. So you see the sky's really blue, you know the grass is really green, you're listening to the human being's pain or calling out for help or achievements or confusion.
Yeah.
You're more aware of life as opposed to just money, power, prestige, the car, the purse, the bill. There's more to life, even though success is great. I'm not definitely not putting down success and fine things in life. Money gives you freedom. But if you don't have spirituality combined with it, it's going to be off center. It's going to be skewed. And something always goes wrong where a lesson comes in. People hit the top and then they hit the bottom because of it. Look what's happening in the political system. I'm not naming names, but they get to the top and the rug's pulled out. Or you see celebrities who hit the top and all of a sudden either they're drug addicts, they're getting sick, or they're going bankrupt because they think they've hit this level of life that they're more entitled or they deserve or whatever, but they haven't kept the balance. You want to talk about your personal Kundalini experience? What was it about? November, December of 20?
Yeah, December 2020. This was like, I remember I had started buying the candles during the lockdowns, and that's when everything started to unravel. And then at one point, the Kundalini just shot up my spine. Like I just got this vibration all up my spine, and I couldn't
Were you
explain what it was.
sleeping? Were you online? Were you just watching
I was
TV? Do you
awake, I was
remember?
watching TV, and I remember I saw something. I read something online about you on Twitter, and
Oh, yes, that's right.
that's when the Kundalini shot up my spine, and yeah, and
You're
that's
buffering. You're
it's just
buffering.
like an
You're in and
unraveling
out.
moment from there on. Because,
Yeah. I
yeah,
forgot all about that.
can you hear me
So,
now?
yeah, but it's buffering. For some reason, you're in and out. Can you hear me
Yeah,
okay?
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's okay. Well, we're
Yeah, I can hear
good.
you.
It's just that it gets frozen.
Yeah,
But I remember I put something online regarding Wicks of Wisdom, and that triggered something in you to contact me on another topic. And since then, you've opened up in yet another level, for lack of a better term, as to how you've ascended. And he has gone, Jeremiah has gone from not a punky kid, but there was confusion. There was anxiety and a rush to get to where he's
Right.
going. He wants to be at 50, at 21. Doesn't work that way. But the experience and the breakdown. And sometimes people, when you go through a spiritual awakening, there can be fear, there can be anxiety, there are voices, there are flashes of light. There might be little whispers in your ear of spirit trying to contact you or me. Because I went through it in 82 after the plane crash and then getting hit by a fire truck. We could all awaken in different ways. Yours was triggered because I think of the spiritual connection you and I have from past lives. Of course, it's from past lives. We might have known each other in the 1500s. Who knows how? But when you come together in each incarnation and you find your soul circle, then you combine efforts and spirit and communication, and you're more family than your own family sometimes, or you're more connected than some of the people you do business with or go to school with or hang out with. And then you've also got, you've got that part of life, and then you come back to where there's a sacred part of life. But we're not in a temple, we're not in a church, we just know. We just know. It's a knowing. When that happened to you, I know you broke, and it took a while for you to integrate. Do you want to talk about some of that? You don't have to talk all of it because it's private, but there's a process. It's frightening.
Yeah, it was very frightening because I didn't know anything about this at all. And it was just like going through whereby also the things I wanted in life also started to sort of change. So it was sort of this process of whereby you're learning who you truly are.
Mm-hmm.
That was how it felt for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
like some of the mask comes off, or some of the old conditioning goes away, or how you and I are brought up and what we think versus, oh, there's more to life than what mom and dad taught me. Oh, I can go this way. Oh, I can feel this way. No, I don't have to drink. Yes, I can join different clubs or groups or meet different people and have various relationships. That's the outside. But the inner world, the spiritual awakening comes from within. But as we go inward and all that, like it's almost like a geyser exploding. Then you have to put it together and put it together mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, so you become whole within. It's a hard, long process. And I remember, Jeremiah, when you called, you panicked and you were screaming and you were actually scared. I remember the fear, and because you were out of control. And that happens a lot in different spiritual rituals, which this was not. This was your own experience because something triggered truth. When you saw that tweet, something inside you knew you needed to be a part of that. And that won't or can't happen until you evolve in order to receive it. And now on the other side of it, you're ready. But you had to go through this process.
Yeah, and right? I'm glad I did.
I am too. And you came out fine. And I remember telling you you'll be okay. It's not like hallucinating at people. It's not, it's just when your soul awakens, you find a part of you that you didn't know existed. You know it talks, you know it guides you, you get a gut feeling about things. But when you really, really wake up, it's a jolt. It's the blinders come off. I mean, you go from this, then you open up, then you go open up, and then sometimes it's so blind. That's why I say blinded by the light. You need some cover to shield you so you can calm down. And if we're all mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects, the wholeness and integration is making it all one, where you qualify and quantify all aspects so that you're okay within yourself. A lot of people are not. We all deny, we all fear, we all have anxiety, we all tell stories, we all want to look good, feel good, have good. And inside, sometimes after you put on your show, you go home, oh God, I hate my life. I'm so lonely. Oh, poor me. Or well, how do I get out of this one? It's one thing to be, but when you're inside, again, be still, for I am God. Your truth will be revealed. And I think that's what happened to you, Jeremiah. your true essence woke up.
Yeah.
Because it shines in your eyes, it's in your voice. You still have work to do to get across the bridge in a few areas. We're always growing,
Yeah.
but I get that you're more confident now and more realistic for what's right for you. And you'll be making new decisions. And probably by the end of the year, going into early next year, 2024, I have a feeling you will finally be on the other side where you have the courage, strength, and ability to let go of a couple of the weights, like the anchors or the shackles around your ankle that are holding you back, to jump into your next venture.
Yeah.
It's all there. It's all there. Do you pray? Do you just watch the candles? Do you go outside and look and appreciate the world? What's your thing besides, I mean, you're online a lot, I know, and I know how intelligent you are, and I know how intuitive you are, but do you have a personal ritual that keeps you in touch with your God or whatever you want to call it? What's your practice? Do you have one?
Usually just close my eyes and just try to go to that place where, it's just like a meditation basically for me. Yeah.
Does it help to quiet the noise inside and then you get your focus?
Yeah. Yeah. It's sort of like going into that place that's inside of you. Yeah. For me.
That's a form of meditation. I don't meditate 5 hours a day like a lot of people I know, or who belong to ashrams or belong with wonderful groups of spirituality. That's just not my thing. But I know how my mornings start, where it's always about me getting focused and ready for the day rather than just getting up at 7 and diving in. That's not me. I need to work into a couple of hours and then I'm ready to go. And I may work a little later. Everybody's clock is different. But learning to go within, be still, for I am God. You hear things, you feel things, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. I want to let go of more superficial items in my life, and sometimes my own denial gets in the way because I get fearful of the change, like we all do. But when I turn that fear back to faith and go, let me just do it today, just today. I don't have to worry about tomorrow, even though I am worried about tomorrow. Or I'm regretful from the past, especially in a Mercury retrograde. It all comes flooding. You don't know if it's yesterday, today, or tomorrow. It's all a woof of energy. And if people don't know what Mercury retrograde is, at the time of this broadcast, we are in a Mercury retrograde where the planet Mercury appears to be going in a backward motion. So communication, technology, travel, illness, especially with computers or refrigerators or gadgets are going to break, fall apart. Something's always going to go wrong. People break up, people reunite, people revisit, people reconnect. It's a weird time. It happens 3 times a year. It's not new. It's been going on since the beginning of time. And it always deals, because Mercury is the sign of communication, the planet of communication. Have you seen anything in the last 10, 15 days of some bumpy moments as a result of the retrograde for yourself?
Pretty just technology issues, like the phone of my grandmother. It's just going in and out, pretty much. Yeah, but yeah.
That's great that you're so close to them. I lost all my family, so you're, except my dad. Thank God, he's 94. He's still here. I've got 2 sisters, but the spiritual aspects of you, does your grandmother understand? Did you talk to her? I know you recently went to visit, so did you communicate your awareness, your change, your growth? Has she followed your journey?
I didn't communicate it because I don't think they would understand.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Even though you come from a spiritual environment.
Yeah, I know. But my family's not as spiritual. They're Christian and they pray and everything, but when it comes to that level of spirituality,
they're more religious.
Yeah, they're more religious.
There's a big difference between religion and spirituality. Religion is man-made.
I didn't try to explain anything to them, but
It's hard because they don't want to hear it. Just like some people don't want to hear mainstream media may not be the same as some other type of media. People don't want to hear that my God is really the same as all their God, even though they've got a definition for what their God is with their religion. People, there's over 3,200 religions in the world. But at the end of the day, in the end of our life, we all go to the same place. And as a medium, I've channeled 1,000 people and dogs and cats and people who have passed on. And actually, one of the girls who I have mentioned on the show, I'm going to be having her on this show in about 2 weeks. She lost her boyfriend from years ago. She was 15. She's now 32, but they had 3 children. And he passed away in July of 2023. One child died in a car accident. She was pregnant and the placenta broke and the baby was DOA on the way to the hospital, or by the time they got to the hospital. So that child never even got to live. Then she got pregnant again in 2014, had a little girl, but she only lasted 8 days of life. So I channeled all 3 for her. Yeah. She's going to come on and explain that experience of the grief and what she's gone through. Also with the testimony of channeling, because people like me that have a gift, I can tap into that spiritual side, which Jeremiah and I are talking about. Spirit is all around us, people. And yet we're so busy with school or technology or baseball games or anything to distract us. It's fun. I'm not putting anything down. That's life. But when you take away all the stimulation, and it's like I've explained to people, you can get totally undressed. You can be wearing $5,000, $8,000, $20,000 worth of clothing and shoes and purses. You take off your makeup. You take off the clothes. You take off the earrings. You take off the dreadnoughts. You take off everything. You stand in front of the mirror. You're totally naked. You look in your eyes in the mirror and you feel the essence of you. The essence will come up. And sometimes we'll cry. Oh, I don't like my hips. My stomach's too big. I wish I was taller. I wish I was thinner. The brain is going to go, 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 go. Why aren't I this? Why aren't I that? We always pick on ourselves. The world doesn't pick on us the way we pick on ourselves. But that doesn't exclude bullying, because there is bullying regardless of what you think, because people now body shame, and they always have. It's just different terms. But what I'm going to is, if you take you, get undressed, before you take a shower, go to sleep or whatever, or in the morning, look at yourself in the mirror. Be still, for I am God. Feel the essence of that energy come through, and you will see who you are: creative, loving, special, beautiful, passionate, compassionate, intelligent. Never mind the freckles, never mind the blemishes. We always want to make it look so perfect. Oh, the tooth is out, whatever. Feel who you are. See what God has given you, because God gave us life. That's our gift on this planet. Why we're here, nobody really knows, except to learn to love. Our gift back to God is to live life to the best of our ability. And most of us don't always live to the max. We can't, or we're not interested, or we're not motivated, or we can't afford it. But you do the best you can without really hurting somebody else. So when you went through your Kundalini experience, which is similar to what I'm saying about the essence, that rush or that startled feeling, Jeremiah, what happened? Because it's the same thing. If you look in the mirror, you're going to cry. Be still, for I am God. Go on.
It was like a wave of emotion, basically, because I didn't know what to feel, but then I just felt very, I don't know what exactly the word was, but it was just like a conversion sort of, and I remember being so emotional about certain things. Yeah. And
I remember when you cried, it was late at night because you were startled. You were shocked. You were scared because you had never experienced it. I remember talking you down for about 5 or 10 minutes that you'd be okay. You needed somebody to, what I call bookend. You needed somebody to hear you and know that you're not crazy. Even though it does create like a craziness. But when we're opening up psychically, people, it's a weird phenomena. If I hadn't gone through it myself, I would think we are talking crazy stuff on this show. But I've been through
Yeah.
3 near-death experiences, being in a plane crash, getting hit by a fire truck, totaling a car, having the white light experience, being given the choice to live or die, then going through trying to figure it all out. And this is before the internet. So when I was going through my initiation, the internet wasn't here for another 15 years. You at least had resources online. You had me, you had other spiritual people, even though it was frightening and the people in your life really couldn't understand you. I'm getting chills right now as I relive this because I remember. And chills, as you know or may not know, is confirmation of spirit. So the guides and the ancestors, they're all here protecting us, confirming this. So once the fragmentation once the explosion took place and you were kind of fragmented, took a while to bring it all together again to feel integrated and whole. How long of a
Yes.
process was that for you? Do you remember?
I'll say it took almost about a year since
Mm-hmm.
the Kundalini for
Mm-hmm.
everything to be integrated and everything. It was about a year for me. And that during that year, it was just like basically you would the people in my life sort of like coming in and out. Like I wasn't getting along with the people with my best friends at the time because they didn't
Did you
understand
also,
what was going
they
on in
didn't
my life.
understand. So in a way,
And
you
that whole
moved
year was
away.
just like a transition.
Right. Did you lose a lot of friends? Like you had to let go or move away because your frequency, your ideas, your level shifts and you don't have as much in common?
I didn't really like lose them as friends. It's just like we sort of like parted ways. Like basically, we
Yeah.
became more distant.
Yeah.
Yeah, friends from
Because
high
your
school.
path and their path is different, even though you miss it or you thought you would never not have them as your friend. It changes. Things change. It's very frightening because it's your security or it's all you know or you believe or you're going to go through time with all these people. And then all of a sudden, boom, somebody says one thing and that's the end. You can't
Yeah,
bring it back. Sometimes you can rekindle the right soul mates that are supposed to be in your life at different points in your life, and others keep that door shut and don't go back, or have some on an intermittent basis. But to be on a constant, they're not always supposed to be there. Some days you can talk to certain people 3 times a day, and other times once a month, and once a quarter, or once every 5 years, and boom, you pick up where you left off. But those others, it's almost like a cold feeling, a warning, like, no, stay away. You're going to hurt, or you're going to be anxious, or you're not going to be understood. You've learned so much. You've become your own alchemist. You've become your own teacher. And as young as you are, with the people around you, and I know some of the people in his life, it's like night and day. Yes, there's a compatible bridge, but I believe you're outgrowing some of it to the point where I don't know if I need this anymore, but I'm not ready to walk away yet. So that's also a process of having to like oil the Tin Man. How are we going to get it to move? How are we going to fix the moving parts? Where's it going to go next? You're not going to fall off. You're not going to die. You're not going to be left hanging. You're not going to be swooped up by an eagle and carried off as prey. You're not, It's just that some things you may have to work a little harder for, or just shift gears and know that there'll be a break in some of it, but you got to go down to go back up. You're not going to
yes,
lose anything. You've gained more in these 3 years, not just that other lifestyle, but it's
yeah,
now you're ready because you have it here to obtain more out there. I don't care if you want to buy a jet. I don't care if you want a Rolls Royce. I don't care if you want to buy an island. If that's your goal, to own the world, that's great. But be a good person by becoming the best you,
it's true.
right? And find your God. So religion is man-made. Somebody
Yes,
said, here's how it goes. This is what you believe. One guy didn't like the rules, created another religion to include the one thing he didn't have, whatever. But when you're spiritual, it just is. And then I always talk about the butterfly poem, God, are you real? I'm going to recite it paraphrase it as again, where the child whispered, God speak to me, and the meadowlark sang, and the child did not hear. So the child said, God speak to me, and the stars shone brightly, but the child did not see. So the child said, God speak to me, and the thunder rolled across the sky, but the child did not listen. So the child said, show me a miracle. And a child was born, but the child did not know. So the child said, touch me, God, show me you're real. Whereupon God reached down and touched the child, but the child brushed the butterfly away and walked away unknowingly. People, it's everywhere. I don't care if it's a caterpillar. I don't care if it's a spider, a butterfly, a toad, a squirrel, a snake. Watch in your day what you are presented with by the universe. Then you can go online, Google, say caterpillar totem, and it'll give you a spiritual message for that moment. Now, the caterpillar, I've never used this before, is before the butterfly. So at 1.3 years ago, or with me 42 years ago, we were caterpillars. And then we opened up spiritually, just like the caterpillar morphs into the butterfly. Jeremiah's become a butterfly. I've become a butterfly. That's why I use the symbol butterflies on my infomercial or my website, or I've got them all over the house. But it's a symbol, and I look at it as a wink from God. You know, you're out and you're walking around the city, and all of a sudden a butterfly comes in. It's like you're just thinking, take it as confirmation of that thought being correct. I was in a situation last week where I got some horrible news about a project I was working on. I thought, oh my God, one more time, I'm on the cutting room floor. Why did this happen? Blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, while explaining to my friend what had happened, a butterfly flew by my window, and I thought, I'm being protected from something. I'm not supposed to go there, but I'm supposed to go here. And if I'm out of my head and bitchy and, oh my God, it didn't happen, but yet something else will happen if I stay on the flow rather than trying to manipulate it all the time. And I think you've learned that, Jeremiah. You're learning your boundaries. You're learning how to stay focused. You're learning how to be alone. And people say, I'm so lonely, I'm alone. I said, you're not alone, all one. The word breaks to all one. Like beautiful. You look beautiful to me, Jeremiah. So beautiful is be you till full. Ill, I lack love. That's what it is when our system shuts down, or the kidneys, or the liver, or the pancreas, or especially somebody who's diabetic. What's wrong? They don't have enough sugar in their pancreas, so the pancreas has to excrete more insulin. Or you have to add insulin because they can't get the sugar. Why? Because they lack sweetness in life. Everything has a metaphysical meaning. You've ascended and grown. You could even be a master at some point. I don't think that's your calling. I think you're supposed to be in business, and you're supposed to brand things, and you're supposed to have a name out there. But I don't think you're the healer teacher. I think you can inspire people. I can see you at certain dinners where I think you're bored to death listening to certain people talk of things and other things. You're just like, wow, this is great, like most people.
Yeah.
And you're going to find those sensitivities are going to get more, what's the word that they're giving me? You're going to find that it may become more boring or less interesting for you as you keep growing. You're going to see as if you're outside yourself, kind of like the Kundalini, you're seeing out of that third eye experience where you see more than what presents itself. It's not just a beautiful table in a restaurant or a walk at the beach, but you're hearing, seeing, and feeling the whole experience, thinking I may be outgrowing this, I may not want this, I want to go here, I want to travel there. And it's all part of it. But the Kundalini, which can happen to anybody, was awakened in this man by something he read, by something I posted, because it was true. The truth hit him, Jeremiah, who's my guest, in such a way that it hit his soul. And at the same time, the awakening from the base of the spine up to the brain just was shaking, shocking. It's almost like the brain falls into different pieces while you're trying to see and assimilate it all. And it's like, what is this? but you were okay, and it's all inside. Some people will call it a mental breakdown. Some people call it psychosis. Not in this situation. This was spiritual awakening. It's very different. I'm not a psychiatrist. I can't define personality traits or problems. I know some of the words, but I'm not a doctor. But I do know that you did not experience what I know patients and clients have experienced, and with their definitions per their doctors. Yours is spiritual. You're right. A lot of people do not understand it. When you do the candles, I think it even heightens that experience more, because every time you light another petition, it's yet another level of change, or removing, or improving, or attracting, or grounding. And you keep going because you keep benefiting from it. We've got a few minutes left in the show. What would you like to say to the listener to either encourage or enlighten or share about your spirituality, readings? I'm sorry?
So that spirituality isn't a one-way street at all. But and the candles they have a way of enlightening that and heightening everything. And ever since I've been using the candles, there's been so much synchronicity in experiences.
That's the key word, synchronicity.
Yeah, you reach this level of understanding that you can't even explain. Yeah.
And that's what Dr. Carl Jung used to talk about in the 1900s after he worked with Freud. And he was one of the top metaphysical psychiatrists of his day. He actually coined the term synchronicity when he watched the dolphins jump out of the ocean and sink. He was on a train and he watched it. And that's when a lot of this was born. I mean, Socrates, Hippocrates, back in the BC days, they knew about all this. It's not new, but there are different ways of seeing it in today's life in the 21st century and to incorporate it. You are one of the chosen to feel, see, hear, and act upon the gift beyond what you've been given, Jeremiah. You're young. I've been through my 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I'm almost 70, okay? I know what you have ahead of you. By the time you get to where I know you're going, I'll be gone. You can talk to me spiritually. I'll drop a pine cone or a butterfly. I'll fly by to say, yeah, I hear you. But let your heart continue to open. And I know you do. We're like little clams, open and shut, open and shut. But you embrace it. You do. You allow it. And sometimes you're thirsty for it. We become thirsty for knowledge and experience. And that's the beauty of it. It doesn't go away. You're right. There's many facets of it. There's no one way to spirituality. So I'm glad you could join the show. I know you've opened. Yeah. I know you have God of your understanding in your world. I am thrilled to hear you're not drinking or dealing with the addiction or compulsion like you were. That's healthy. I know you take certain nutrients to keep you healthy, and you're in school, and you're doing great compared to where you've been. And this is just the beginning. You're on this little people mover of life. I think it's great. I think it's great. I want to thank you. I want to thank you.
Without you, I don't know where I'd be right now.
Truthfully, I don't know where you'd be either. So I'm very grateful that we've crossed paths and we've spent time together. And I know your essence, and I know the roles you play out there. We all do. We're all like actors on a stage, as Shakespeare once said, but we're all here together. If you're on the spiritual plane, you want more information, go to lindasalvin.com. You can always come back and re-listen to Jeremiah. He's been there, done that. We're going to shut the show down now. Stay backstage. I'll talk to you in just a moment. Everybody, I'm Dr. Linda Salvin. This is the Starlight Café. Tomorrow, Tuesday, I have the show Transformational Tuesday. Wednesday, I've got the show Recovery Wednesday. And the show every Thursday, Starlight Café, plus what's out there on the archives. Take care. Have a wonderful day. God bless. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed today's program with Dr. Linda. Need a breakthrough of your own? Ready for answers or insights nobody else has? Reserve your own one-on-one in-person chat. Dr. Linda isn't just for other people. Dr. Linda gets results for you. And it's easy. Contact details are on screen now. Just click on lindasalvin.com or call toll-free 888-509-1077. That's lindasalvin.com or toll-free at 888-509-1077.